Coming up, a shipwreck revealed on the shores of Sanday. How to fit ancient Greece in an elevator. It's not a dig too far as Carenza investigates Operation Market Garden. And new Nazca lines discovered in Peru. Welcome to Time Team News, your monthly look at archaeological news and discoveries from Britain and across the globe. And we've got some great stories lined up for you this month, so let's get started. Now, if you happen to be taking a stroll along a beach one morning, you might find the odd bit of driftwood. But earlier this year, residents on the island of Sanday, Orkney, stumbled across the remains of a shipwreck that might be up to 400 years old. The wooden section of hull was revealed in the sand, sparking a rapid rescue mission to save it before it was taken away by the tide.
It's a very, very large bit of ship. It was 8 by 5 metres when we first found it on the beach. And this whole thing has been this extraordinary journey of discovery, really, and a rescue operation at the same time.
The collaborative effort has seen local residents join forces with Wessex Archaeology and Orkney Islands Council to protect the wreck.
It's the islanders, it's the Heritage Centre volunteers that have valiantly, really valiantly kept it soaked all summer long. They've kept it, they've been unwrapping it, soaking it again.
Well, basically it's been a case of trying to keep it wet. When we first got it to the Heritage Centre, we raided the reuse shop and grabbed any duvet covers, curtains, any fabrics we could and soaked them all in water and wrapped up everything that was movable. And every week or 10 days we had to try and get the cover back and hose it all down just to keep it wet and check that it was all okay.
And now, thanks to the National Heritage Memorial Fund, a dedicated tank has been constructed to help conserve the timbers for future study.
We're so pleased to get this tank because it's going to save that job over winter, and we won't be constantly checking the weather forecast trying to find out when there's going to be a fit day to try and water the wreck, as we called it.
So the fantastic tank behind us has been built by Waterfront Group in Kirkwall. It's made out of stainless steel, 7 metres by 5 metres long, and that should allow us to keep all of the timbers nice and wet, nice and cool, and submerged beneath water, and not have to pile them too much on top of each other, which will keep them nice and safe as well. So the idea is that they're kept in fresh water, which will start the desalination process, which is important. It's the first sort of part of the conservation process.
I think what people really want to know is that everyone's more intrigued as to what the boat might be, where it's from and how old it is.
So what is this bit of ship? The answer is we don't really know. We know it's old, we know it's very old. The kind of analysis is pointing us in the direction of 17th century, which is very exciting, the 1600s. If it does turn out to be from that period, then there's only 9 recorded shipwrecks in Scottish waters from that period, so that makes it extremely unusual. It's a really robustly built ship. It's built of oak. It's really solid. It's really strong. So that's pointing us in the direction of, something more than just a kind of coastal trader. So it's really, really exciting. It's a hugely important find.
And I'm joined by Nick Hewitt from Orkney Islands Council. Hi, Nick. How are you doing?
Hi, Dani. Hi, Dani. Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. No, this is a fantastic project. What kind of research will you carry out to find out more about the ship?
We're on the start of a long journey, Dani. It's such an exciting object, and we love it. It's thrilling to see it in reality. It's so huge, and there's so much detail. The first stage is we have applications out for funding to support further analysis of the timber, including dendrochronological analysis, which will allow us to really firm up on when the ship is from and where it's from. And we're also looking at more work on the kind of construction methodology, which should also give us some clues. There's lots of really informed speculation. We're hardening towards it being 17th century. We're hardening towards it being Dutch. Warships and merchant ships were kind of interchangeable in that period. So, could it be something like the Dutch East India Company, the VOC? That's certainly something we were talking about a lot on the day. So there's a lot to learn.
I'm just wondering, what kind of archival research can you do that might help lead you to find out more about it?
Well, I mean, we're going to start with our own. So we've got a wealth of information in Orkney archives, and if we're able through the analysis to prove that Dutch connection, I suspect there'll be some journeys we want to go down around what records might exist in the Netherlands. So lots of archival work to do, lots more work on the timbers. We're kind of pretty sure that the ship was uncovered on the beach by the storm and not washed in. So there's also the tantalizing possibility about, is there more ship down there, and is it the same ship? A lot of houses in Orkney generally, actually, but specifically in Sanday, have ship's timbers built into them. So, ideally in the future, we'd love to be able to do some work there to see whether anybody has parts of this ship propping up the windows. There's a huge amount of work to do. It's tremendously exciting. And obviously the end goal that I think we'd all love to see, but it is the island's choice, is to have that, amazing structure reassembled and on display to the public.
That's one of the things that I was just going to ask about, because the community have been really involved from the very beginning. What role do you see them playing in the future?
They'll be at the centre of it. It will be the community's project, but they'll be absolutely at the heart of anything we do there. We wouldn't have a ship without the community. The community got it off the beach just at the point where the weather was starting to break up the remains a little bit. So, it's the community that kept it wrapped in old rags and soaked all the way through the summer until we got the tank built. So the community have been amazing, and it will be their project, and we won't really. Our job is to help them deliver their dreams with it, really.
Well, it's a great project and we'd love to follow it. Will you keep us informed of the progress?
100%, Dani. We'd love to bring you with us all the way, and maybe get some of you guys up to have a look at it at some point. That would be fantastic.
Oh, well, that'd be brilliant. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Nick. What an amazing effort from everyone involved. I look forward to finding out more about this mysterious shipwreck in the future. Now for our book of the month, How to Fit All of Ancient Greece into an Elevator by Dr Theo Papakostas. Here's the premise. Two strangers meet trapped in an elevator. One's an archaeologist, the other isn't. And the simple question, what do you do, becomes the springboard that leads to a dialogue that weaves a fascinating tale. Well, we were intrigued to find out more, so we caught up with the author himself. Here's Dr Theo Papakostas with his elevator pitch.
Hi, I'm Theo Papakostas, or Theo Papakostas, and this is my book, How to Fit All of Ancient Greece in an Elevator, published in August 2024 by William Collins. My book aims to be an easy, fun, and informative way of introducing everybody to ancient Greece. It traverses the entirety of the ancient Greek world, starting off from the prehistoric era, the Stone Age, the great cultures of the Bronze Age, the Cycladic culture, the Minoans, the Mycenaeans, and then it moves on to the historical period, covering the entirety of ancient Greek history up until the Roman conquest and beyond that, where the two cultures, Greek and Roman, merged into what we know as the Greco-Roman world. The titles of each chapter are inspired by songs, because I wanted to give an up-to-date pop reference way to show everybody that ancient Greece is very easy to understand. Though it seems vast and massive, it's not that difficult. And there are chapters like Getting No Satisfaction, or Like a Rolling Stone, or for the Greco-Persian Wars I chose Another One Bites the Dust. And for Alexander the Great, of course, Wrecking Ball, because he came in like a wrecking ball. The idea of this book began when I started my public archaeology project in Greece called Archaeostoryteller, which tries to convey archaeological information to the wider public through social media mostly. Then podcasts came after that. But I realized that you just can't fit all of ancient Greece in an Instagram post. So I tried to squeeze it in an elevator. Whether it fits or not, it's up to you to decide. No spoilers, you'll get to decide. And in between every chapter, there are FAQ questions, which are original. I asked the general public on social media what their questions and queries were about ancient Greece and archaeology in general. And the 10 most popular questions are answered in this book. For example, what is archaeology? Who is the first archaeologist, if ever there was any? How are archaeological finds dated? Was there a dark side in antiquity? Was there a Darth Vader telling, for example, Alexander the Great, Alexander, I am your father? That would be Philip II, but anyway. Why is mythology such a mess? What is an excavation's most important find? These and lots more in How to Fit All of Ancient Greece in an Elevator. I hope you'll enjoy it.
How to Fit All of Ancient Greece into an Elevator is available now via William Collins. We've just returned from a really busy weekend working with the residents of Norton Disney in Lincolnshire, helping them to discover more about their village's heritage. It was an epic 3 days with around 100 local volunteers in over 20 test pits, scattered throughout the village from people's back gardens to the grounds of the local pub. Meanwhile, we put in several larger trenches in search of the medieval manor house, once home to the Disney family, possible ancestors of Walt Disney himself. The results of that dig will be revealed in a brand new episode to be released in 2025. For now, you can catch all the behind the scenes action direct from the field in our Dig Watch coverage over on Patreon. But that's not the only dig in Lincolnshire that the team have been involved with recently. Carenza has been at the centre of excavations with the local community at the historic village of Fulbeck in the 80th anniversary year of Operation Market Garden.
Last summer, Dr Tim Clack from the University of Oxford and I led excavations on a Lincolnshire site associated with World War II's Operation Market Garden, which planned to accelerate Allied progress across Europe after D-Day by dropping troops far behind enemy lines. In 2024, Digging Market Garden commemorated the 80th anniversary of the Arnhem Campaign as part of South Kesteven District Council's new Soldiers from the Sky project.
So Digging Market Garden, this is the first phase of field work. It's been generously funded by the University of Oxford, and that money is going to really innovative field work, a community archaeology project taking place firstly in Fulbeck at the site of Fulbeck Manor in Lincolnshire.
Digging Market Garden targeted Fulbeck Manor, used during Arnhem Campaign preparations. Owner Julian Fain has distant memories of wartime Nissen huts in the garden, but they aren't shown on wartime maps, which show the camp nearby, but not the manor area. Appropriately, given Fulbeck's military history, most of the field workers were current and former military personnel and their families, volunteering through military charitable organisations, Operation Nightingale and Wings to the Past. Early finds from the trenches included ammunition rounds from training and live firing, military kit bag straps and uniform buttons. A solenoid from a 1943-44 military jeep confirmed the presence of an Arnhem-era repair workshop. For the first 2 days, evidence for huts remained elusive, until a 20th century water pipe appeared. The trench extension revealed that the pipe had cut through a lightly built brick wall. This wall looks similar to foundations of 1944 Nissen huts excavated on the Band of Brothers dig at Aldbourne in Wiltshire. Beneath the brick wall was a much earlier stone wall. This stone wall appears to be part of a medieval predecessor of the present manor house, no trace of which has previously been found. Digging Market Garden provided vivid insights into Fulbeck's use in the Arnhem Campaign, and also revealed the medieval antecedent of the house which hosted Arnhem officers and meetings. Volunteers and visitors alike were impressed and intrigued. Digging Market Garden also benefited today's military, with detailed feedback showing a huge range of positive impacts on volunteers' mental well-being, as they made new discoveries about the wealth of history buried beneath these now quiet Lincolnshire lawns.
Now, a favourite story of mine recently in the headlines. An ancient monument discovered in Thomas Hardy's garden has been granted protected status. The British literary great Thomas Hardy is best known for his classic novels including Far from the Madding Crowd, Jude the Obscure and Tess of the D'Urbervilles. But as fans of Hardy's novels will know, He held a lifelong fascination with archaeology. He even set the end of Tess of the D'Urbervilles at Stonehenge. In 1891, a sarsen stone was discovered in the grounds of Hardy's house, which he featured in his poem The Shadow on the Stone. Around 100 years later, another sarsen was discovered during excavations, which was part of a Neolithic enclosure almost 100 metres in diameter. In 2022, excavations confirmed that the site was in use during the early Neolithic period, dating the site from around 5,500 to almost 6,000 years ago, making it one of the earliest archaeological sites in Dorset. Thanks in part to the work Hardy carried out over a century ago, the site has now been protected as a scheduled ancient monument. Hardy's house Max Gate is open to visitors via the National Trust, and both sarsens are still on display in the garden. Hannah Jefferson of the National Trust has said, "We've no doubt Hardy would approve wholeheartedly with the scheduling of this ancient monument, and we're delighted that we can share with visitors the true significance of his discoveries here." It's just a short distance from the Neolithic Henge Mornbury Rings and Maiden Castle, one of the largest Iron Age hill forts in Europe, both of which are well worth a visit. If you're craving even more archaeology each month, then you must catch up with the latest Time Team podcast. There's a new episode every fortnight, and I caught up with presenters Helen and Martyn to find out what you can expect. I've got Martyn and Helen here with me from the Time Team podcast. Hi guys, how are you doing? All right?
Yes, thanks, fine, thank you.
We're doing very well.
Excellent. Can you tell us a bit more about the podcast then? What is it all about?
Well, Martyn is a proper radio professional and I'm obviously not.
You're an archaeology professional.
So we've teamed up to make a Time Team podcast, which is, now there were four elements, weren't there? One is news about things, so you know we'll be parasiting on you and finding out what the news is. So that's news of all around the world and everywhere, like you do. One is
we're going to be finding out more about techniques used to create archaeology. So that could be troweling, it could be going out with Stuart to find out how a landscape archaeologist might discover the secrets of a landscape. We're going to be doing that. We're going to be asking you questions. So if you've got any archaeology related questions that you've always wanted to ask, but you think, oh, maybe that's a bit stupid, maybe, is that a silly question? It's not a silly question, and Helen is very willing to answer it. And plus, we've got the Time Team nostalgia. So everything you wanted to know about Time Team.
Yeah, so that's kind of, Martyn calls it nostalgia, I call it history. So it's how Time Team came to be. I mean, it's a long time ago now. It's Time Team began.
Years.
Yeah, quite. So some people might like to know how it began, how people got involved, how it grew into this enormous behemoth, which is not a moth.
Behemoth?
Yeah, that's Phil Harding and John Gator, of course, they're the behemoths. Yeah. So it's quite varied, isn't it, Martyn?
It is, it's varied. It gives you a snapshot into a world of archaeology, which if you've never come across archaeology before, is hopefully really accessible. And it's good fun as well. We have a laugh.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's once a fortnight.
And you can get it anywhere you normally get your podcasts. So Spotify, Apple, anything you like, go and find it.
Fantastic, brilliant stuff. Well, I look forward to listening to it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nazca in Peru is known for its giant geoglyphs running across the landscape, known as the Nazca Lines. The intricate, stylised geoglyphs are created by removing surface rocks to reveal a lighter subsoil beneath. Many are abstract geometric shapes, while others depict a range of animals from birds to monkeys and marine animals, as well as human-like figures. Although created thousands of years ago, they're best seen from the air and were only rediscovered and recognised as figures within the last century since the advent of flight. Now, machine learning has been utilised to help identify many more examples. Another 300 geoglyphs have been discovered as a result of the new research, almost doubling the amount known. The latest examples are thought to be around 2,000 years old, again depicting creatures including orca and humans. While AI played a critical role, it should be noted that the project depended on the expertise of archaeologists and researchers on the ground, who put in thousands of work hours coordinating the project and ground truthing in the field. The study was led by a team from Yamagata University, Japan, and published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. As usual, we've put the link in the description box below. Well, that's all for this month. Please remember that additional Time Team news content, including 3D models and extended interviews, can all be found over on our Patreon channel. Well, thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe and press that notification bell to receive all the latest updates. Well, that's all from me for now, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Join Time Team on Patreon to access exclusive 3D models, masterclasses and behind-the-scenes insights.